Hey, hey, hey. Hello, everyone. Hello. And welcome to this edition of Office Hours with Lenora, the home edition. Thank you, Mr., Mrs., whomever, what sex pronoun we choose to call it, Corona, COVID-19. Thank you because I'm home in my home office. Unfortunately, I would rather be at 430 North Michigan to share information and go live with you all. But because of that bad virus, we are still practicing and operating under the mandate, the stay at home mandate, and practicing social distancing. So, how's everybody feeling today? How are you doing? Just checking in with you. Although it's the home edition of Office Hours with Lenora, we're still conducting business over at the Realtors Real Estate School. So, of course, that's why I'm here. So, let's talk a little more about what the plan or the goal is for today. As my schedule stated, that today we're going to discuss the leasing or residential leasing agent course, and that is our topic of choice today. But let's again first go back. Let's take it way back. Being here in my office, my home office, I have a chance to not just have a commute, have the walk from work, have the interactions with people that are coming in and out of the office. I've had more time to think about what's the next step. What do we do as a part of having all of this quote unquote extra time that I hear people are having because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I hope that you're using your time wisely. I hope that you're getting some rest, first and foremost. I also hope that you're making that investment back into yourself and looking at ways to maybe declutter the house or improve in some personal ways. I've had a personal goal sometime myself to become a motivational speaker. Surprise, huh? And I've been working on that. So I'm doing some things personally, professionally, and I'm starting to see a little bit of the fruits of my labor. So I hope that same thing is happening to you. Back to the office hours with Lenora. Being in my home office too, and I'll kind of pan around in a minute so that you can see, I get motivation from being in this room. And I've set aside a motivational wall. That might be something that you might want to do going forward in the future too. So let me just kind of pan around to you now. And I'm big on motivation. So you'll see that I've put some different pictures up to help me when I'm in a rut or not the highest of spirits, but just kind of get an idea of trusting, believing, staying motivated, looking at my past, present, and my future. So hopefully that's an idea, something that I've been doing for some time now, but that might be something that you would want to look into, creating a motivational wall for yourself, looking back and just staying encouraged and uplifted. That's what Office Hours with Lenora, the new home edition, basically is. It's a way to help others succeed. So whether you are starting in the industry, don't have an idea of how you want or what type of course you want to accomplish, whether you are a current student and you're moving towards that testing aspect of your course and having some reservations or nervous, or you might be that actual real estate practicing professional who's out there in the industry closing those deals, but for whatever reason, things may have plateaued. Or you might need some additional motivation or a spark or just some new creative ways to help increase or improve your business. Office Hours with Lenora is here for that. So, to our topic of discussion today, and I know some of y'all see my shirt now. Act like y'all see my shirt now. What is that? I'm full of sugar and spice and real estate advice. Hey, that's your girl. So, I found this on Amazon. So before anybody asks the question, Amazon. So real estate professionals, go there, get you some real estate wear. I think I just Googled real estate shirts or something like that. So Just pretty fun. Just trying to have fun with it all since we have to be confined. All right, let's get to it. Let's talk about that 15-hour residential leasing agent course, okay? At the Realtors Real Estate School, now with the current conditions that we're operating under because of the stay-at-home mandate and the COVID-19 pandemic, we have shifted all of our courses from a physical classroom course or a self-study course where we have to ship you materials and then you have to formally come into the school to take a final exam. We want you to remain home and stay safe. Hi, Captain. My friend Kevin's watching. Hey. We want you to stay home and stay safe. So as of right now, all of our courses will either be a webinar format which is instructor led. It's a live instructor in place. It's one of the closest ways to get to a classroom environment. The biggest difference is you're at your home. My instructor will be at their home, but we're still talking about real estate and getting you the education and the requirements that you need to move on to complete your state and national licensing exam. So that's one way to get it done. Another mode would be online, where you're working at your own convenience, at your own pace, from your home, from your computer. You're getting everything done on your schedule. You're not waiting for an instructor. You're not waiting for other students in a webinar. You're working at your own pace. One of the major differences between the broker course and the leasing agent course is just that. We operate with those two different modes. With the leasing agent course, we have technically 3, but only 1 as of right now with the COVID-19 pandemic. So we've taken away online because we never had an online leasing, residential leasing agent course. And we've taken away the self-study option. So for right now, the way that you take your residential leasing agent course with the Realtors Real Estate School is through a webinar. And it's 2 days. And the webinar, we actually have one coming up. It's going to be May 4th and May 5th. And it's a Monday and a Tuesday if my memory doesn't fail me. But it's a chance for you to get 15 hours worth of coursework done, completed. So in this time that I've been home, I've been hearing people say, well, I don't really know if the governor's going to extend the mandate, and I want to try and get my feet wet in real estate, but I don't know if I can take a long enough course like a broker course. I may be called back to work, so on and so forth. My option or recommendation to them is look into maybe a leasing agent course. It's small enough in time as well as an investment that it is something that you can do quickly. And it also is a way to introduce yourself to the real estate industry. Maybe financially, some students can't just jump off into a broker pre-licensing course. So they do start and they work their way up and they kind of build up the experience level to be able to move into a broker course by taking and earning a residential leasing agent license. Now, you've heard me kind of interchange the term leasing agent and saying residential leasing agent because as of last year, the terminology changed. All means the same. Leasing agent back then is equivalent to what we're calling residential leasing agent now. You'll notice that the word residential is emphasized because that is the only area that a leasing agent would be working in. So you're going to be working in an area where someone would live, an apartment, a home, a residential area, meaning somebody's going to put their head down on the pillow and live there. You cannot do commercial work or service those clients that would, like if there's farmland or industrial or something like that, and not this type of license. If you want to work with those that are buying, selling, or leasing, and you want to do all that as a scope of work, you have to earn a broker license. Residential leasing agents, residential work only. So the course is 15 hours in length. At our school, it is a webinar for right now, May 4th and 5th, and it's 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. on those 2 days. So 2 days, you get the course done. You're able to learn about the responsibilities, the requirements, what leasing agents can and cannot do, who they actually work for, what state and national laws affect the field. You learn about all of that within those 2 days. The cost for the course is $240 for the webinar. Again, it is instructor led. So we're going to have, with the webinars, just kind of reinforce, you'll be able to see our instructors. Our instructors can't see you. So if you're in your pajamas, we won't know. And you can get the education that you would get in a classroom setting as we're going through each chapter of the book. We are having practice exams as a part of the webinar. We're having open dialogue and discussions as a part of the webinar, so we don't lose that element just by being on a webinar and coming from a classroom. So safe to say, it's a good option or an alternative to get this course out of the way. Let's talk a little more about what those requirements are. You do have to be a minimum of 18 years of age. You do have to have a high school diploma or a GED, and you will need to be of good moral character. One other thing that I get the question about, well, Lenora, what's good moral character? I can't explain or identify what that is because that's such a broad statement. That definition will come directly from the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations. To sum it up, I would get as close to saying, be a good person, be ethical, do things the correct way. But the definition, again, if you have those questions, definitely going to refer you back to IDFPR. They'll have to kind of go back and explain directly what that means. There are some areas that we're going to cover, and I talked about a few of them, but we'll talk about fair housing in the class and how it relates to residential leasing. You'll hear the term, the Act, the Real Estate Act of 2000. We're specifically looking at the real estate area for leasing agents only in that act. We're going to talk about leases and applications and how to run a credit report and what you're looking for on a credit report when it comes to accepting an individual for a unit. We will also discuss owner and tenant relationships. That matters because who are you working for? Whose best interests do you have to keep in mind when you're making these decisions on who to rent to, what rules and regulations that you have to follow? The handling of funds. You'll learn this in your course. There's a term called commingling and conversion. Commingling is, a good example would be you, my friend Kevin, who's on here. So Kevin gave me a check, and I decided to put that check in my personal account versus the business account if I was representing someone for a leasing transaction. That's commingling. I should not be putting business funds with my personal funds. Can't do that. Conversion is me just kind of flipping that money and turning it into whatever I want to use it for other purposes. So if Kevin, in that example again, gives me a check, from one of his clients as earnest, and I use that money to buy office supplies, I've converted that money. So that's conversion. So you have to be careful, and those are just a couple of terms that you're going to learn as a part of the course. The final areas, plus, there's some I haven't mentioned, but one of the final areas would be environmental issues relating to residential real property. So things like you can't have storage tanks. You can't open a meth lab in a rental unit. You can't take the backyard of a rental unit and decide that you're going to start raising llamas and chickens. Can't do it. So you're learning about all of that in a residential leasing agent course. We're also going to talk about the renewal of said license once you earn it. The residential leasing agent renewal is every 2 years. It's July 31st of even number years. So for example, this year, technically, licensees, those individuals that have already gone through the course and have earned their license and looking to renew, they should be renewing their license by July 31st. The requirement for renewal is 8 hours of continuing education, as well as one of those hours being specifically directed towards a sexual harassment prevention training course. So the 8 hours have to include that sexual harassment class. We have all of that here at the Realtors Real Estate School. So if at this point you've decided, you've made the step, you've taken the leap, you've earned your residential leasing agent license, and you don't know where to go to complete your CE that's required, give us a call. We have webinars scheduled. We have online coursework scheduled. We can help you. Okay? Let's talk about a permit, because many people don't know that a residential leasing agent can work 120 days in the business of real estate under a permit, which permits them to be able to work in that capacity as a residential leasing agent. Now, there's some conditions. First, foremost, beginning and end. This permit does not come from your school. It will come from the sponsoring broker. So the real estate office or the property management company or whomever is going to be responsible for monitoring the residential leasing agent student. So it will not come from the school. I get a lot of calls like, where can I get the application? You must start first with the sponsoring broker you plan to work with. Okay? So the permit itself is $25. You'll go through the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations and your sponsoring broker to submit the permit. So the sponsoring broker is going to make sure that you are being watched as the student, because technically you don't really know all that you're supposed to be doing. But it's a great way for you to get a super introduction to this industry without even having a license. This is the only area of real estate that you would be able to do that. You cannot operate under a permit with a broker license. There's so much other responsibility. We keep that to the leasing agents. Remember, leasing agents are employees of a company. So although they're sponsored, they're going to work for a property management company. They're going to work for different offices or whatever. And there's a contractual agreement between that licensee and that office. Different than a broker, because after 2 years, a broker can independently move on, take a managing broker class to operate their own office, or work in the capacity of managing others. A leasing agent can never do that. They're always going to be sponsored by a company or an office, okay? Let's go back to the permit. With the permit, so this is where I like to caution people. If you're not serious about the 120 days, because within that 120 days, you need to be working towards earning your license. So I encourage students, if you know on January 1st that you've earned a permit to work in the capacity of a real estate leasing agent, student is the key word in that title. You need to be in school. Don't wait until 10 days or 5 days before your permit is about to expire to begin a course. Chances are you're not going to be able to find one. You're not going to have enough time to get it done. And you can only have a permit one time every 24 months. So every 2 years, you get one chance to earn this license. And if you waste that time because you're working and you're not actually studying, you're going to run out of time. Okay? So that time can be completed on May 4th and 5th. You see how I segued? That time can be completed on May 4th and 5th. Give me a call, 312-214-5513, if you're interested in starting a new career, getting some additional skills up under your belt This is a great time to be doing this for, again, those individuals that have free time. Let's look at putting some more skills up under your belt so that you can have other opportunities as streams of income that you can have coming into your house. Don't waste this valuable time. Again, personal, professional. Let's be doing those things to help us going forward in the future. Because when we get back to what some consider the new normal, you may not have time to get all of this done. And we want to make sure that you can get it done now, okay? The other options that we'll be talking about in terms of other classes that are coming up at the Realtors Real Estate School. Let me see what Kevin is saying here. Leasing is just a great way to determine. That's right, Kevin, it is. It is. It's a good way to get, like I said, get your feet wet in the industry to learn. Kevin said it's a good way to kind of get an introduction to the business. And it is. It is. It is. So other classes that are coming up over at the Realtors Real Estate School will include on May 4th, we're offering our 2-week accelerated broker webinar course. So 2 weeks, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Each day for those 2 weeks. We get all 75 hours required done. Also on May 4th, we're going to be starting our Managing Broker series of classes. 1 week in length. We've complete 45 hours with our students. And that is a webinar as well. I think I said classes, but I'm interchanging. It's a webinar, so you can get that done from the comfort of your home. What else? On May 11th, we will start our morning-only classes, which are 9 a.m. to 12:45 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Again, another great way, only 3 days per week, a little over 3.5 hours, you can work towards completing a broker pre-licensing course. We've made it convenient. It's there for you. Take advantage of it. At the end of the month, at the end of May, we're going to be offering our Saturday sessions, which will include Saturday webinar classes for the broker course. Okay? So stay tuned, log in. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any other questions, remember, I'll still see. You can post here. I'll see those questions even after the live. Continue to practice social distancing, 6+ feet. I usually tell my kids, give me 51 feet, so they don't listen, but continue to practice those safe habits. You guys take care of yourselves. I've had some friends that have had some family members that they've lost, and it's becoming closer and closer, and me learning of individuals that have unfortunately transitioned due to the coronavirus. So I pray that each and every one of you are safe. You continue to be safe, as well as your families and friends. And I encourage each and every one of you to continue to practice those safe habits. Continue to work on you. This is your time to shine. This is your time to get the questions answered, to get started. There's so many opportunities out here for us to take. Let's take them. Okay? Ta-ta for now, and I look forward to talking to you all soon. Bye-bye.